Moving on to our next session. South India has long been a powerhouse of leadership and innovation in the media and entertainment sector. It's unmatched in terms of creativity and commercial influence. Next up, our illustrious panelists will cover a broad spectrum of ideas. So let me go ahead and invite them onto the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Venkatesh Vijay Raghavan, MD and CEO, TTK Prestige Limited. Mr. VKC Razak, MD, India's VKC. Preeti Murthy, President, WPP Media. Uday Jadhav, Chief Executive Officer, Sakal Media Group, and this session will be moderated by Shibu Shivanandan, Founder and Managing Director, Pivot Rules. I invite the wonderful panel and the moderator onto the stage. And as always, this is how we'll welcome them with a big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think this is the first time that I'm attending the South India's Media Summit. And I really love the vibe. The crowd is full. It started really on time, so I'm really happy that this is happening and I'm here. And I really look forward for doing it every year. So, leadership for different people are very, very different, right? So, for some of them, it's about resilience. For some of them, it's about vision. For some of them, it's about leading from the top. Today, we really want to go a deep dive into the personal experiences of how all of you guys have seen the leadership, come out. What are the traits? I really want some of those personal connects from each one of you guys, and hopefully we'll have a fun, wonderful session today. Just to start the session, right? What, according to you, is leadership? If you have to pick up one person that you have worked with or worked for, and what would be that one trait that really stood out? And you felt that, hey, this is something that really is up to the mark.
I think let me first of all thank you, Shankar and Bharat and their team for putting up. Actually, as mentioned by some of our participants, it is becoming like an annual event for us to meet at least once in a year and getting to know, what is new happening and just to update ourselves on the various fronts. So, with that opening remark, I would say that one of the important, prominent word, this thing what we hear about leadership is leader is the dealer in hope. Famous quote from Napoleon. So, see here, any leader, to me, the person whom I look for or I see a leader is my chairman, it's my father, who started working from the age of 11 and just immediately after completing his primary education because he was not having a, the capacity or the this thing to go for a further studies and because of the family conditions. So from there, he had a vision because he got into various jobs, including some government job, but he resigned everything or he did not got satisfied with that because he had a much bigger thing in his this thing. So he started his kind of a business from Tamil Nadu, we can say, in a village called Kodayar near Pollachi, and he started with a small hotel while he was working in Tamil Nadu State Electricity Board as a permanent employee. So when the business was going from one side, he resigned his job and he focused on the business. Not just for that reason alone, but he wanted his one of his friend to get a promotion to his post. If he stay there, he will not get the promotion. So there is something which is unique about him. And we are seeing him right from the beginning. So we started plywood matchbox, the component manufacturing unit. Then later finally came to footwear in 1984 and started with 600 pairs a day. We reached a capacity of 5 lakh pairs a day. So this is the current business. And as any leader, I think he should have a vision and he should have a strategy. And vision without strategy or strategy without vision doesn't work. So these two things actually, what I would say that was very good in aligning all these things and very, very well. And all those big ideas he had, that any leader should have a big idea and he should have a where to execute that. And he did it very well, and he could communicate that what he's doing, and he could develop the most important one. He could develop the next generation leaders also. I think to me, so this should be leadership, and I look at him and we follow the same path where we started. So that's from my side.
Your business is as old as me.
Yeah.
And I think you almost summarized every point that I had today to discuss. But yeah, great to hear from you. Sir, from you.
No, I've had the opportunity to work with many leaders, many entrepreneurial leaders who've shaped this country as well. See, I think there are two things. A leader, of course, needs to have a vision, but I think the vision needs to be a shared vision that energizes the team, energizes the people, right? And I think most leaders that I've seen succeed is when they're able to actually touch emotionally. You may have your own preferences, you may have your own ideas, but if you're not able to get the emotional connect with the team, energize them, right? And that, I think, is what I see has been the success hallmark of many of the leaders that I've seen. And that's something that I try to personally emulate as well. I think it's very important that you have a vision, the vision gets shared, and you make the people around you believe in that vision, because at the end of the day, it's not your success, it's their success. I think, to me, and somebody was talking about Captain Cool. I mean, he's a live example, I would say. I mean, the guy just steps back in the moment of celebrations and takes the brat when you need it. I think there are people like that, leaders are like that. I think that, I would say, is some of the hallmarks that I've seen in leadership.
I agree. Empathy and probably, having that emotional connect really helps.
Yeah.
You're able to cut through people and probably, sit with them, have a chat and understand how are the challenges, and you're able to solve them.
Yeah.
Priti, something from you.
I think they've covered it so beautifully. I mean, I was actually thinking, what should I add? But I think what I've experienced is what I can share.
Yeah.
And something that I am now trying to give back, right, is about the authenticity in how you deal with it, right? So one is the vision, the second is the empathy, the ability to connect and translate it on ground. And how authentic are you to do it, right? Yeah. Most of the journeys you will find here in entrepreneurs and some large companies that we have seen is about that authenticity. You will find all the founders here, all the owners here with that authenticity. Yeah. I think that's where I've learned a lot and how leaders should behave. Yes. Because even in when do leaders shine the most? Success is very easily reflective, right? The toughest part is your crisis. And how authentically you are able to deal with it with your teams, with your people, and take along the journey. I think that is where the shift happens, and that's how I've experienced it well.
And I agree. I think being in a tough situation really brings out a true leader, right? And their capability to also lead is what I feel. So, a great example there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think all the panelists has described leadership very well. From me, when I see the leaders, I work with many good leaders and I learn so many things from them. When I try to shorten or maybe summarize a couple of qualities of the good leader, I normally find 5 qualities of the good leader. First is every leader is having a purpose of the business or purpose of the life. People, those who are having good passion about that purpose, they normally join him and they will take the path ahead. But purpose is the most important thing for the leadership. In offices or in industry, we use 3 words, one expert, bosses and leaders. But when we look at the leader, I can distinctly, you can say, separate bosses and expert versus leader, because leaders carries so many soft qualities, like they are always driven by the purpose, one. Second, they are always humble. Yeah. They are always available to people, they are always ready to listen, they show the great kindness to the supporting team or people working with them. Third quality is they show empathy. I will give you a small example. Normally we get messages early morning about the leave. Uh, People like, sir, today I'm not feeling well, I want to leave. How people respond? Some people respond with K. I don't know what is the meaning of the K. Some people respond with the okay. Some people respond with okay, take care. But leader respond with okay, take care. If you require any help, I'm a call away. I think that is the quality of the leader. I think, as you rightly mentioned, leadership is all about the emotional connect with your team. And if somebody is showing the emotional connect, people will go out of the way to achieve the purpose that has been laid in the organization.
Absolutely. You look at the, four panelists having different view on what leadership is, right? There is authenticity, then there is emotion, then there is purpose, then there is vision. And I think that's holistically what, leadership is. Leadership is probably not only one, but, multiple strengths coming together and showcasing in the best and the worst of the time. Moving to the next point, right? One of the key things in leadership is also growth. And growth also comes from getting and giving feedback. So just wanted to touch upon that as well in terms of, if I have to probably start with you there, right? Being a CEO and taking the feedback from the teams and the peer are also equally important. How do you manage it, and what is your way of working around taking feedback from the team to go back and understand and dwell upon it?
I think as a leader, I think we must be a good listener. To a good listener, we need to manage time. If you want to be available for the team members, you should have a time to deal with them, to listen them. People will, or team will come to you with lot of information, lot of stat, lot of MIS or complaints. If we listen them completely or carefully, I think after listening, most of the issues normally sort it out. And if we listen them carefully, people also think that he is the listener, we should go him, share information, that the emotion bonding start increasing. While listening, the people normally do couple of mistakes. The normal mistake is people use multitasking activities while listening somebody. My suggestion is, when you are listening to anyone, avoid multitasking, focus only on the content. Second mistake, we start judging people by inputs. I think we should be neutral, we should be sometimes vocal. I think we should ask right questions while you are listening to the peers, because with right questions you will get additional information. And once you get the information, we should be collaborative. We should pass on that information to right people, right functions. I think that is the aim of the good listening. If my suggestion or my request, all of you, if who are not good listeners, start listening your team members carefully. I think it will be a great valuation to your organization.
That's some fantastic thoughts. Sir, you have been running a 40-year-old organization, right? And 41-year-old, sorry. How do you create an environment, having such a strong roots, how do you create an environment where different layers of teams that are working are giving feedback, and they're open to giving that feedback as well? How are you able to build that organization culture shift itself?
So, as already mentioned, that's one of the most important thing that is definitely feedback if you want to move ahead. So, one thing is that, we have to understand whom you are going to take the feedback and what is the ecosystem, and basically on what topic. So here you have to be, it has to be an a two-way kind of a thing. It's not, most of the time it comes with a questionnaire, or it comes with some kind of a feedback which is ready-made things. But that will take you to only a limited extent or to limited exposure to the real situation. So we need to start talking with them, maybe something positive the person has done recently or recent past, by just making him to speak which is like, okay, if you talk about him something which is positive, definitely is likely to open out on other matters which he feels that I should be knowing. So, and we should like get all the feedbacks, and we should also give the feedback to him on the feedback, like what action you have taken on the feedback. So once you complete the loop, like then it becomes a system for a regular and routine feedback wherein you can take decisions fast and you get the what you call actual, I mean, reality on the ground to make you a better decision.
I agree that that feedback loop has to be continuous and complete as well,
Completed.
right? At Havas, we have an annual survey where we take feedback from all the teams and we do it twice a year so that we have, at least we go back to the teams addressing some of those issues and also see how do we do in the next chapter of the year as well. So again, you touched upon a point about feedback to start being positive. I just want to open it up to everyone saying that, do you feel that feedback always should start from a positive note, or is there any other way to also look at it?
See, I think I'll just add on to a couple of points here. See, I think in the, be it small organization, big organization, you would have different types of people, right?
Yes.
There are some people whom you know want to come talk to you.
Yes.
Right? We would have done that. We as juniors would have also done that in the past. I think there are a few personalities where they put the organization ahead of them and they're not comfortable when things go wrong with the organization. They want to come talk, right? Now, those are the ambassadors whom I think we should pick up first, because the moment you're engaging them, there's a viral impact of that that goes across the organization to say, yeah, these guys are open. And like he said, if that conversation is authentic and genuine, the virality of that will actually make other people then walk up and do. I think to that extent, I think spotting that and being able to genuinely have that conversation, I think it works. And that openness is what I would suggest we should focus on. Because once you do that, then automatically things will start falling in place and you can start talking to different sets of people.
I think not looking at from an influencer standpoint, but practically they're the ones who are also will take that positive message forward and seeding the positivity within the team, and then probably great. I think that's a great way to also look at. Moving to the next question, right, which is related to uncertainty and leadership. I think the last about few years has been nothing but uncertain, and I think that's the only certain that we have. In points like this, sir, Venkatesh sir, I would like to start with you saying that how do you shift mindsets within yourself and within the team to manage this uncertainty and probably to build a belief and a hope with people?
No, I think we've got live examples. I've been part of an industry which had 2 players to start with, then it became 20 players, then it became 10 players. Fortunately, today it is 2 players, right? I think the one thing that we've learned there is you just stick to what you think is right and the clarity of what we need to do. Because if that clarity is very clear, I think it helps us sort of step back and say, okay, how do we navigate this whole? So I would say the first thing that I've learned throughout my life is be clear about what are we wanting, irrespective of what the external environment is. And as long as we stick to that and we navigate around it, I think we in most cases will sail through. And when you're able to communicate that and stand by that with the teams as well, I think it works. And I think live examples you've seen, whether it's in my current organization or which TTK Prestige or in Airtel as well. I think I've seen this whole roughing it out by just being stay put, being clear. If you can do that, I think it works.
So staying put and be very clear, being very clear about the output. Priti, I would like to hear from you as well. In terms of uncertainty, how important is communications and being transparent within the teams are?
So it's a mixed bag, right? When you're running, say, 20 people or a 40 people company, you can be very, very transparent. My nature is such that I like to receive all the communication very clearly, right? But when now I'm in a leadership role, I know I cannot do it all the time. So what do? You hinge the pillars that will inspire, motivate, and being fair to people's role in that organization. Because when you have 3,000 people, 2,000 people, you cannot share everything and anything, right? So it's a very tricky balance. Communication is important. How you communicate, what is the elements of those communication, how is it going to land and impact their current work? That part is where they look at you, saying that, okay, there is this crisis, business up, business is down. When there's more work, there's a problem. When there's less work, there's a problem. Both are issues, right? Because more work means they're expecting us to set up more team members or processes. But many times you just have to go and figure out at a later stage because you're really not sure whether it's going to be that high all the time. So where is that right balance for them? And giving that empowerment to them is the key. Transparency is subject to conditions. This has at least been my learning because sometimes we're too transparent, then there's a problem. We're not transparent enough, then there's a problem. So last 5 years has taught us that. Post-pandemic, we have realized that everything and anything can't be put out in the platter.
And I agree with you. When it's a smaller set of people, I think the way that transparency and communication works is very different than probably a 5,000 member organization where they'll have to pick and choose the battles, how transparent till what level. I think that makes a difference. Mr. Razak, again, coming back to you. In uncertain times, right, what is your mantra to stay grounded? How do you balance it out? How do you, as a leader, how do you stay grounded to the reality? And
So actually, see, if you take, as somebody was mentioning, I mean, we have been sailing through a lot of uncertainties in the past few years, starting from that is 2019, I mean, with the GST, demonetization, GST, and in Kerala, I think you never experienced, we had 2 continuous floods, that is 18 and 19. Then next 2 years, COVID. So it's a 6-year series of uncertainties, especially most of the Kerala-based manufacturing. So the the only thing is that keep cool, keep calm, and be more active. There's nothing that take you out of this kind of a situation. I mean, you have to be very active. Once you take it inside without being cool or calm, then maybe that will be the end of everything. Because you'll be going to take hefty decisions or which you never may have done. So it's something like, as already mentioned, Captain Cool. Just, be cool and calm, then be active. So I think this is what we have practiced in the last, from the experience basically.
And just to move to the next segment, I believe that storytelling is also a very, very strong, important component when it comes to specifically leadership, right? So we'll probably start with you, Mr. Venkatesh. What is that one story that you tell the team, which gets them all together, gets them pumped up? Is there a story that you like to share with us as well? Or is there what is that instance about leadership, storytelling that you bring out?
No, I think I keep often repeating the same thing. I think if I go back to the telecom story again, if there is one company that could rough it off for 15 years, still stay back, right? I think that is an epitomization of how you can go through the trenches and come back again. So my favorite story has always been, life will always be tough. It's about how you ride it through. And there are live examples, his growth story, TTK Prestige growth story, Airtel, there are a lot of companies, a lot of entrepreneurs here would have gone through that, right? I think these stories are all about picking up, and if you won't feel excited if you don't have something like this. 50 years, when you turn back and see, if you've gone through all these struggles, I think those are, so that's something that I keep telling people, that if 20 years down the line, you have to stand back and reflect back, if there's something has to be interesting, that interesting has to be episodes like this, and the way we bounce back. I think I would say these are stories that I would keep telling people. It's important to fail, it's important to go through struggle, equally important to get out of that struggle and reflect it back probably a couple of years later.
Absolutely. I think post the COVID era, I think everybody who has survived, right, will have a story to say. And I was telling this to my parents as well, right, that probably 10 years, 15 years down the line, people will not know that, we survived something like COVID. And for them, it will be strange to actually hear about, what we went through, how we were all locked up in home, I think that's a great story. Uday, anything that you would like to add? You know, what is the one story that you keep telling your team that re-energizes them?
I like one story. Whenever we discuss with the team, we need to create faith into the cause or what we like to do in the future. A story is a fiction. The story is like that there was a boy living in a small village. The village was facing drought from so many years. One day, all villagers come together and they decided go to a temple or mandir and they will pray to the god for the rains. That morning, the boy goes to the mandir or temple with the umbrella. I think the story is very small, but the meaning of the story is if you are going to pray to the God, you should believe that if I'm praying to the God with my heart, the rain will fall. And that's like everyone should have a faith in our own activities, then only the great things will happen.
Is there anything that you would like to add? Any story that you would have heard which energized you, inspired you?
Oh, I think most of the stories that we play within ourselves is actually where we had a lot of fun, where we have laughed, where we have enjoyed the moment of whatever it was at work, whether it's crisis or whatever. Yeah. The stories that get passed on from generations is those days of fun. Like, you know, we worked the crazy hours and we did an overnighter and then we had this ball and then we ordered this and nothing happened and we had fun. And, you know, it is those narratives which in context, if I see when I talk to the next generation, they're not interested so much in my story as much as that feeling that I derived out of it that I'm passing on. And they are looking at their current work environment and saying, am I getting that feeling back? Is it infectious enough? The story has to be infectious enough. And I think that's where I have put my, bet on.
I agree. We have a similar challenge as well. When we were like about 50, 80 people, we used to party a lot. We used to work like till late night, and everybody used to be part of that. And now teams are also asking, why do we don't do it anymore? We are more than 400 people now. It's very difficult. Like, it's a huge office. You can't do that. But yeah, I totally relate to what you're saying, and I think that's also a way forward. Moving to the last segment, which will be about culture and diversity. Leadership also means being inclusive, bringing out a great culture together. So Priti, we'll start with you. From an agency standpoint, right? And then I think in the first panel led by Mohit, he was talking about Gen Zs. How do you think that, what would you feel are the most important cultural nuances in an organization which will attract Gen Zs and get them to stay and work for a longer time?
And I think this is a little controversial. I'm going to say it a very different thing other than what people think, that Gen Zs are not working or whatever. I actually admire them because they're very clear what they want and they don't want. I'm very inspired that they bring in a different ecosystem that we can learn from and change our habits. In the earlier generation, who were my bosses, say 20 years my senior, 10 years my senior, they had a different outlook on how to engage with juniors, right? It was a very hierarchical driven approach. Hierarchies are important, but the balance of hierarchies to the acceptance and inclusivity is a different generation. Sometimes one overindulges, sometimes one doesn't indulge at all. So it has become that extreme today. I think what Gen Zs bring in is a refresh to how to balance it. They also question how we function. And I really believe that that's where we are going to bring in the shift in many organizations, because these Gen Zs are going to be the next leaders, right? So if you're not going to listen to them, then you are not setting up yourself for success. And hence you're not a leader. Then you become a manager. So that's the subtle nuance that we need to place into the mix today.
Perfect. I think I also agree with you. I think there is a lot that we as leaders also need to learn from them, their mindset. The future is Gen Zs, right? I mean, somewhere we'll have to also come in the middle, and they have to come in the middle. It's just a way of probably giving the right feedback, getting them, teaching them all the qualities that we actually spoke about. Uday, from your perspective, how important is diversity for a real growth and innovation?
I think diversity is the key for the success because many industries are now dependent on one income source. The other industry, you are working in the other industries, we are in the media industry. Our main revenue comes from the advertisement. And when we think about the media, the only challenge we are having that if we lose the market share or we lose the advertisements, what will happen with the media? So as a Sakar, we are keep diversifying in the other sectors in like education, in those sector publication, those who are related to media. And I think if we able to establish a diversified portfolio, there is no fear factor. There will be no uncertainty. And uncertainty kills you. If you are stable, you are certain, I think future will be bright.
And then just to blend both the questions together, and I'll ask any one of you to answer that. Have you experienced a challenge between older generation and a younger generation? And how do you recommend us to deal with it? Just a point of view.
See, I think when in doubt, go with the younger generation because they are the way forward, right? Now, you have no choice. I'm saying as the profile is going to change, and you have, when organizations, 75 years old, 80 years old people are there, new people are there. I think what's more important is there is a change in the way the market is behaving today, the way the consumers are changing. Some part of this Gen Z is also reflecting the consumer attitude as well. And therefore, completely shutting off, saying that no, we won't look at it means we're actually going to lose out from that perspective, right? The second thing we need to understand is their environment is very different. Like she mentioned, some of us or our generations or our earlier generations, the risk-reward ratio was defined very clearly. You work, you get the reward, and therefore you keep working, you get rewarded. I think the equation was quite clear. Today it's not like that, given that a lot of these Gen Zs have come from a richer India, right? And the ecosystem there is slightly different for them, and therefore their risk-reward equation is different. So we need to understand that. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand the consumers as well. So I think, I would say when in doubt, lean towards them. Of course, experience helps. So keep the experience on and blend the two is what we would try to do. It's not an easy job, but I think that's what probably is one of the biggest leadership challenges we have today.
How to look both of them in a single...
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah, actually, I will start from where he stopped. Actually, see, there is a serious conflict between old generation and new generation, but it's not as what we think. See, I'll just explain you in with one simple example. Like, see, in old generation, maybe to save money, we used to walk 10 minutes or 15 minutes to reach from one place to the other place. But now, new generation, maybe to to save time, they spend that money. So this is the basic difference between those generation and this generation. So it's basically it's a old thinking and new thinking. See, you can't say that there is no value system in them. See, then if there is no value system, what happened in Sri Lanka or Nepal or now what is happening in Ladakh, it wouldn't have happened. So there is actually one of the previous session also, they were like students now when I like dropping one of my the candy pouch outside of my car window, my daughter doesn't permit me to do that. Or if I throw out a piece of paper or the what you call this thing outside the window, they don't permit. So they have clear idea or they have value system. But only thing that, as he said, we need to blend these two, and the old generation has to go to the shoes of new generation, and new generation have to be aligned with the old generation, because there is, as he said, there is a risk mitigation level is slightly different for them. They are coming out from a different, completely different environment. As again, earlier also mentioned, because they are now growing up with the apps, not with the feeding bottle. So this is the difference. So we have to definitely align these two, then definitely you are in the
like I have an interesting
direction.
analogy to it. My cousin brother, my Masi's son, okay. So when he was in college, he wanted a two-wheeler bike for Bombay college bike. So his father gave a 3-4 hour lecture on how he grew up near Trivandrum, how he used to do 2 buses, or he used to sometimes walk one and skip a bus so that he can save money. He said, your problem, your father didn't give you money. Okay, now his son, my brother was buying a car and upgrading his car. His son gave a good lecture on what are you going to do, save. I don't want your money, I want the car now. Why don't you, instead of this A car, why don't you buy a B car? So this is how the values shift. He says, don't keep for future. You live now, YOLO, FIFO, LOFO, all those jargons come out.
See, they are earning money and they wanted to earn more, but they don't want to buy a house. They just wanted to go for a vacation in some good resort and spend the money. So this difference, if you can, or if that, what you call mindset, if you can take in you, then it's finished. Everything is clear.
I also agree with that point, and I think there was one point that was covered in the previous panel as well. It's about how the Gen Z is also looking at sustainability as a point, right? Like, I don't think that we actually thought about, wearing sustainable clothes. Now they really think about, what am I wearing? What am I eating? What am I doing? Is it impacting climate change? I don't think probably, not that things were bad at that point in time, but I don't think that at least my generation really thought about climate change, right? And it is now when I talk to them, I hear from them, even I go back and say that, what can I do as a small change in my house, in my day-to-day thing that will make a difference to the nature, right? I think that there's some great learnings. As you rightly said, Mr. Venkatesh, right? How do you...
I just have a point there to add. I mean, I have one experience recently.
Yes, sir.
I mean, from this perspective. Like, we just launched a pilot project in one of the corporations in Kerala. So we launched a project like whenever I sell a product, we take back one old used footwear back and we dispose it responsibly. So the response from the new generation is much more very positive than the old generation.
They would want to do that.
Yes, they wanted to support this kind of a movement. So you just mentioned about the green and all the sustainability points. So so that is very clear.
Yeah, great. So I
would like to add.
Sorry? Yeah, Udaya, please.
On the lighter note, though it is true, I'd like to say we in Maharashtra say we normally do 4 mistakes in our life, or we did 4 mistakes. One, we spend a lot of money in the marriages. Then after the marriage, we normally buy our good flat and we took loan for paying the EMIs. Once we get good flat, we buy car. And if money left, we buy LIC policy. These are the normal mistakes we do. But when I look or interact with the new generations, they are very asset light. They want to, as you mentioned, they don't want to buy a flat. They want to be staying in the rental house. They don't want to buy car. They would like to prefer use Uber or Ola. They don't fall into the long-term relationship. That is also scary. But they are looking for the very short-term relationship, convenient relationship. But I think it's completely changed. They also changed their terminology. When I stress, sometimes I stress in the office, the Gen Z team comes to me and they ask me, are you stressed? When I say negative, they laugh at me. But we need to use their language also, that the terminology has completely changed. I think sometimes I face problem to deal with this new generation, new Gen Zs.
The good thing is, stay on Instagram. There is a handles on Instagram which tell you how to become a Gen Z. Great. Sorry?
But it is dead now.
Great. I would like to wrap this up by asking quick, doing a rapid fire round. Just 3 questions, very, very quick answers to everyone. Sir, what is the one leadership trait that you admire the most?
Hard work.
Hard work. Fantastic. Sir?
To me, it's humility.
Wow.
Authenticity.
Show empathy.
Empathy. Great. Superb. I think summarizing a great leader, right? What is that one mistake that you feel that as a leader you will not do or you will never repeat?
I think I would not put all the eggs in one basket. Because it's from my experience, because we are predominantly a distribution network.
Got it.
So there are challenges, and especially at the time of COVID again. So you should have a alternate,
Alternate.
option.
We come from an agency background where we say, put all your eggs in our basket. Great, sir.
I would say I would never pass on the pressure. I think to me, pressure is something the leader should handle.
Okay.
Smile is something that is spread on to people.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Fantastic outlook in that.
I
Pradeep.
think for me, I will not close my ears, which means also listening.
Yeah. Beautiful one. What is it?
I would like to avoid mistake of micromanaging. We normally spend too many things, manage small things. Those don't show any importance in the future. If you look back 10 years back, we always think that we spend a lot of time in the micromanaging.
I agree. And I think Gen Z is not even probably would want to get micromanaged. They realize it very fast and then they tell you to back off. What is it, one piece of advice that you would like to give to the next generation?
I always, I think it's very clear, like be ethical, be transparent, be hardworking. Like
Being
whatever
ethical,
product you do, whatever process or whatever practice, and whatever business you do, very transparent. I mean, to your stakeholders, to your, investors, whoever it be.
Yeah.
And hardworking, that as I already told you.
Superb. Yes.
I would say stay true to yourself, stay true to the other people.
Good advice.
Whatever you do, take it seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
I will advise work for the purpose, work for the passion, be a good listener, and be an ethical person in the life.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was fantastic listening from you guys. And I think I have also learned a lot from all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the wonderful
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the audience because we
Sure.
all attend a lot of events. And I would just want to say how encouraging it is to see you all seated. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
take a moment here to appreciate how amazing you are. One Gen Z's email response for taking a holiday was, "I'm on leave, bye." That was the email. And of course, on social media, we had this entire discussion about a 70-hour work week. And look at the amazing leaders on stage who are so empathetic, so kind. The Gen Z in the audience, you should give them a nice big round of applause if you're there. And everybody else as well. These are the leaders we need who are shaping the next generation. Thank you for being amazing. That was lovely. On that note, may I please invite Shalmali, Senior Vice President from Tata Play, to join us on stage. We have a little gift for you. And may I also invite Mr. Krishnan Subramanian, Chief Learning Officer, Trans World Academy, to join us to deliver the mementos. But meanwhile, step forward. We'd like a pose with the wonderful book that you are receiving. One quick group picture would be lovely. A nice big round of applause one last time. And Gen Z in the audience who have joined us.